social anxiety and trying new things like new classes or the gym. I don't know if this resonates for you, Gina, but what I hear because of the entire sentence of how you said that is that the struggle is in being judged, or the struggle is people looking at you weird or thinking strangely about you. How do you think differently about what may happen if you go talk to your boss versus how do you think about what may happen if you walk into a class full of strangers at the gym? I'm hearing literally familiarity, like you know your boss, right? It's about being around new people that has some weight for you. So I'll go right back to the basics. We talked with Kate about real basics. I don't even need to understand why that exists. I told you I had social anxiety, and I can explain to you why, because I now know after years and years and years of looking into it. I remember when that started in a pretty big way. But you have some fear, some feeling, some discomfort that comes up around being with new people that you don't know. It sounds maybe even more so in organized settings, in settings when you're gonna perform or you're gonna do something in a group of people you don't know. I'm gonna even give you a tool to practice right here at Ignited, right? Because you're doing it right now. You're talking in front of a bunch of people you don't know. If we understand the growth mindset and that these practices are now when we have to lean into, your job over the next, let's say at least few weeks, it might take even months, but it's not gonna take much longer than that. Your job over the next few weeks to few months is to find as many opportunities to put yourself in situations where you're around people you don't know. And our job will be to start out on the boundary, on the edge of what feels uncomfortable, and then progressively push ourselves. And these are just ideas. None of these have to be the right one for you, but I'm just gonna kind of, like for Kate, I'm just gonna throw a couple of things out. You let me know if any of these resonate, okay? One option, and we can test this, would be to connect with one person you don't know first. So it's not a big group, but it's still people you don't know, and see how that feels. Make sense? Now, it doesn't have to happen at Ignited, but you have an environment here where you don't really have to leave your house, right? So that's still pretty safe, and you can interact with people you don't really know and test, right? Because that's what we have to do. We have to start learning why this feels uncomfortable. So let's test what happens trying to talk to one person that you don't know and just having a conversation. Part of your cost, Gina, is going to be getting really uncomfortable a few times. But if this works, you'll get less uncomfortable with time. Now, another option would be to go to more groups where you don't know people specifically, right? So less one-on-one, less personal, but still the idea of, okay, let me jump into a group I've never been on before and meet people I've never met before. All of that is virtual. Then I'm gonna go into the specific example you used before, like going into a gym class that you've never been to before. There are probably times where the classes have more people or less people. Do you get more uncomfortable when there's more people, or do you get more uncomfortable when there's less people? What about identifying times where the classes are not as full, so you're pushing your envelope but not as much? And this is an important additional piece to this. So all we're trying to do right there is we're trying to push our comfort edge a little bit. Here's the next piece though. Something's gonna come up for you because you're pushing your comfort zone, right? So anxiety is still gonna come up. What I think would be incredibly useful, reasons for my anxiety. And then when you start feeling it, do not run away from it, right? We're trying to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? So just because you're starting to feel activated, you're starting to feel anxiety, don't ignore it, run away from it, or try to eliminate it. Instead, ask yourself the question, what am I anxious about? Now, this might be really hard for you to do right now because you're not in an anxious state, or maybe you're in a slightly anxious state right now. But if I asked you a question, when you were walking up to that class and you knew you're going to be around a bunch of people you don't know, and you started getting anxious and you turned around and left, what were some of the thoughts you were having in your head about why you were being anxious?